Hey, it's Lomentini, and as you all know, normally I say it's Lomentini lit up. This month has been wow. It's been a month, just a little bit over a month, and I'm not doing good, not at all. I've been having trouble getting out of bed, just depression, I, like I've never felt before. It's tough to get through this when you have so much of your emotion and mental capacity tied up with another person in a relationship that you loved and adored. But we've been putting this out there pretty raw, pretty transparent, pretty bare. And I've had a lot of people reach out to me and say, man, that is just so gutsy of you to put that out there so raw and transparent about yourself and what you did and how you're getting through it and all that I've overcome. And I'm still not there at all. And it takes time. Everybody's trying to tell me, hey, man, give yourself a break. This is going to take some time. Man, it's just one of those things, whether or not you want to do it or not, because I'm facing something that's very tough personally. And it's one of those things where I might have to go away for a little while. And do I want to do that? Do I want to put myself through that and come out the other end with nothing, or go out with nothing? Now, those are some crazy choices. I'm just going to put it out there. And I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for some sort of empathy. I'm not looking for, oh, Patrick, come on. I'm just telling you where I'm at. And it's not easy. I did get some wonderful feedback from some people about putting it out there and being so honest and upfront and just being so raw. But there was somebody that reached out to me from Florida, a good friend of mine, who was asking, because I had put the podcast channel on private because I was getting a lot of nasty talk, and we won't talk about that any further. So I put it on private, and my friend reached out to me. He said, hey, man, I've got somebody down here that's in a very similar situation, and he could really use your podcast. He could really stand to listen to them. I think they would help him. And I'm like, wow. Okay. Wow. If I can help just one person out of all of this, then I think it's been great. So we've helped one person, at least that I know of. And I got another compliment. I think I told you all about it. Another guy texted me and said, hey, you know what? You may not see it now or later, but at some point, somebody's going to look at these podcasts and it's going to hit home to them. And I hope it. But the more I do them, I think I don't know if it's hurting or helping. You guys can maybe ask that question. Has it been therapeutic for me? I guess to get it out there, but has it helped me in getting over it? And I'm not sure. See, this last podcast, this is one that I did, and I was talking about getting through it and moving on. I wasn't saying moving on. I want to clarify this. It wasn't moving on as if like it never happened. I've got to find a way to move on, move forward. My wife has made it very clear she doesn't want anything. She doesn't want a relationship anymore. So how do I move past that? Because she is doing everything she can to strip me of any kind of sort of life. Amen. And I get it. It was a very bad moment a month ago, a little over a month ago, and it's still healing physically, emotionally, mentally. So there's a lot of madness there, hatred in the heart and soul. My status with you guys, this is where I'm at. Yeah, it's not been easy. These last few days, getting out of bed has been tough. I just go to bed early and I just sleep and I don't want to get up. And that is depression at its finest. And then, of course, your mind starts flipping around about all the different things to do, how to do it, when to do it, where to do it. But this part of me is, okay, here you are, nothing, and starting completely over. Could start over and do what you got to do and go away and pay your price to man's laws, and then come out of it and you're still alive and you still got something to share. and you can still do these podcasts and have more content about what you experienced, where you experienced it at. Is that possible? Is that something I can wrap my head around? Or do I just want to? It's weird. Suicide is a weird concept because it's so final. And I don't mean that in a pun, no pun intended. It is final. There's no, let's see what happens in 2 weeks. So it's not, no, it's over. I've done as much as go back and look at friends that have died by suicide. I've had family members that have died by suicide. And the finality of it all for them and their family. And one of them was a girl in specifically that I knew pretty well. And she was from home back in Kansas and left behind a little girl. We all miss her a lot. She was struggling too. And depression and all of that is very real. And I think she had a lot of that going on. And so what all do we do to take care of that? How do you get past it? How do you get past the thoughts of the loss and the thoughts of starting over and the thoughts, your mind goes in a million directions, the thoughts of her with somebody else down the road, just the thoughts of all these different things that go through your mind. And it's hard not to want to reach out, hard not to want to call, or not necessarily call, but you text, you send an email, you express yourself. And the thing that hurts the most is, I will share this with you, is when the other side doesn't care, when the other side is done, when the other side has no inkling of even trying to work it out or talk about it or do what we have to do to make it work. When the other side is so indifferent and so uncaring. There's an old phrase in relationships, not to say this is good or bad, but the power in the relationship lies with the person who cares least. I heard that from somebody many years ago, but it's a lot of truth, because they're the ones that control everything. You're like trying to make it work. Hey, I'm sorry, all the different words and whatever I got to do to take care of myself to make sure that nothing like that ever happened again. But there's nothing on that end. So that's where it gets very difficult to comprehend. Like, I cannot believe that there's at least no kind of figuring this out. Enough things are done, enough things are said, enough people have chimed in, and she's got a ton of people on her side telling her what we've talked about before. So I wish it could be different, but I don't know. I shouldn't say that. My point here is, and why I'm doing this today, is somebody wanted me to be honest and give you an update on where I'm at mentally and physically and spiritually. I think I'm good with God. I'm trying to put the word in, read some words, read the Bible every day, some short passages, whatever it is that I can get some positive input into my head. And then do as much, I don't know, exercising as I can. It's been beautiful these last couple of days. Just went on a couple of long drives. Just clear your head, try to figure it all out. And it's exhausting when you have these big burdens on your shoulders like this. And anybody out there that can relate to this or going through this right now, you just got to take one breath at a time and one thought at a time. Because Greg Pease and I were talking about NLP and what your mind processes. So these are just average numbers. They're not pinpoint perfect, but it serves purpose. For any given second, your brain is processing 2 million bytes of information. It can only process 126, 132 bits. So there's a lot of information coming at you. And if you're only able to process 126, to keep in mind, that's a healthy mind, one that's not suffering from depression or anxiety or any other issues. So if you're not in a good mental state, your mind might be trying to process 162, 262, and you're just scrambling and you can't figure anything out and how nothing makes sense. So that's where I'm at. It's just a bunch of stuff coming my way. When I've been reviewing all these podcasts and all the different subjects, and some are spot on and some I'd love to hear your guys. On the ones about surviving suicide. And I've been thinking about that a lot. Surviving suicide, because I actually took action on it. And for some reason it didn't take. And I met with a fellow barber friend of mine the other day. He goes, At least you know you're not good at it. That's about all I can. That's about right. I'm not good at it. So my mind, as I said, where I've been the last few days is how do I get better at it, or just move on and take care of the business that you need to take care of, so that in a year from now, at this time, I can be right back here in front of these cameras talking to you. Hopefully, that's how that goes. I don't know. But in the meantime, we're just going to keep diving in and understanding it. I've been taking these weird medications. A medication that you take at night, and it's supposed to help you keep from being depressed. But I've been taking it, and I'm more depressed now than ever. Does that make any sense? No. So maybe I should stop taking it. And I've lost so much weight. Man, I was hovering before all this happened. I was right at 205. And I tell you what, maybe I eat once a day, and I just don't do anything. I don't eat. I drink a lot of coffee. Stop drinking. And man, I'm like 190 pounds, maybe even 189. I think they weighed me at the mental hospital. And I'm going to tell you something. I'll tell you the story in a second. But anyway, I think they weighed me in at 186. I was just lost so much weight. And you could probably tell on the podcast that even just everything, just lost a lot of weight. And it's very stressful, this kind of stuff. And do I have this inkling in the back of my head that somehow we're going to work out? I honestly, at this point now, do not see that. She has made it very clear that she doesn't want this. And she has made it very clear with things that she has said, very personal, deep personal things that she has said to other people who have then said it back to me. So that's just extremely hurtful, because we were best friends, and it was the most transparent relationship I've ever been in, and it was great. I loved being so open. Was it perfect? Was I perfect? There were some things I needed to fix, and she knew that, and we both knew that. But unfortunately, something like this happens, and then it's at that point. I don't know. But as far as I was in the mental hospital, and I was with that guy. I told you guys his name was Osario. Cool name. And it was just the two of us, both of us the same age. I'm white, he's black, and he had an awesome afro. We got along great, and we just looked at each other, okay. This really felt like, if you've not seen the show, it's an older show. I just rewatched it because it was just making me laugh and sad at the same time. One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson. Fantastic movie. But it felt a lot like that, where there are people that are just career mentally unable to comprehend. And then there's the ones that just going through some problems and made something worse than it needed to be. That would be me and Osorio. And we get through it. We get out of it. His case was a little different than mine, but we're all there for the same reason. And when you see that in there and you put yourself in that category and in that same space, you got to really question yourself. You're like, I know I'm smarter than this. I know I'm smarter than this. I know that I'm better than this. And I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. I'm saying I'm better than that. I'm better than that. I'm smarter than that. I've experienced so many things in life that I just want to share them. I haven't had a chance for the right platform yet. I was pursuing a dream. It made her mad, and she had enough of it. She was mostly the support, and I get it. I'm not afraid to put it out there. But that's that way in a lot of marriages. There's one person supporting the other, or vice versa. Sometimes it's equal. Hopefully it was, and that's exactly where I wanted it to go. But I was pursuing the Barcade Music Festival. I was pursuing real estate career and doing hair, and the hair was growing, but it just wasn't getting there fast enough. But that's my point, is I am better than this. So that's why I struggle with this whole idea of suicide, is because the unknown. And do I want to spend the next 3 years? All right, let's just talk about it. It's about me going to court. I got to go to court for this. And the attorney wants to make it a very serious charge. And I am like, I'm not habitual. This is a one-time situation. Both of us were drinking. I did do what I did. And if you want to know what happened, go back on February 12th podcast. So that's it. All right. So here's what possibly could happen so that you guys know what's going to happen. I'm going to go to court and it's going to process itself out. I'm going to have to turn myself in and probably spend however long I need to spend in there to process this thing through. And I could be gone for a year and 2-3 years probation after that. Maybe, and on the other side, it might just be probation. So, but I talked to a couple of attorneys and they're like, hey, this might end up being a year in jail. And I'm like, fuck. If you don't think your life can go spinning out of control in just a second, it can. Just a second. That's all it takes to go spinning out of control. We lived in that house, a beautiful brand new house that was built. We were there just over a year, just celebrated our ski trip, our anniversary of 4 years. Great trip. Everything was great. 3 days later, it's gone. And I have been spending this last month, which has felt like an eternity, punishing myself, ridiculing myself, pleading, begging. I don't even know if that's the right word, but trying to make sense of it. The first 2 weeks were so tough. And then I tried to get happy with it. I tried to make myself feel better. And I went to Destin, Florida, as I mentioned to you guys before, and walked the beach for 2 days. For 4.5 hours one day. Just my feet were blisters, man. It was great. Got in the car and drove home and had every intention of just going to the place I'm staying, going to bed, and I had a full day of work the next day. But in my darkness, I didn't do that. I decided to go to my place of work and try and kill myself. For some reason, that didn't work out that way. I was on that floor for over 11 hours until somebody knocked on the door waiting for a haircut. And so you can imagine how that turned out. It was a fiasco. So then I spent a week in the mental hospital trying to get better, participating in what they wanted you to participate in. We talked about this too. They only want to keep you for so long. I guess insurance companies only pay for so long. So they try to get you as well as possible within a short period of time, 3 to 5 days. And I think I was there for 5 because it was a weekend that was attached to it. But you participate, you talk to the other people that are there. We all come from all these different ways of life, all these different ways of life. Here I am, a hair guy, nonprofit guy, and then, big executive for a company here in town. Then you've got, just a nurse was in there. And then you've got kids that are they're lost. They're 20 and 19 years old and they're just forever lost. And, but we all come from all these different walks of life, but we had one thing in common: depression, anxiety, and we all wanted to kill ourselves. We all wanted to have suicide. And so talking about it, is it good to talk about it? Yes. In the respect that, you know what, there are other options. As you all know, you can call 988 on your phone. And there are other people out there that can help you through the process. And that's what I'm doing. Not only through this platform, but through friends, pastor, trying to keep my head right, trying to keep my mental state right, and understanding what I have to deal with. And that's where I'm at right now. If you guys want a clear update of where Patrick is deciding to go spend my time and serve for what I've done, or to be done with it. Now, one is very final, and you'll never know if you've done better or can do better because it's over. On this side here, let's use 3 years as the mark. I'll be 57. I should still be in decent looking health. And I'll have a chance at something. I can continue my platform here of not only surviving suicide and all the crap in between, but surviving jail. That's a whole discussion that we can have, that I've got some content I can share. Or surviving the depression, the anxiety, surviving the hate and the vitriol spit these people are putting out there. And just all of those things there. So there's my choices. Final, done. You'll be at peace and you won't have to worry about it anymore. And quite frankly, I don't really see a lot of people coming to my funeral. My family's a little discombobulated, very. And her family sure as hell ain't coming to my funeral. So cremate me, throw me out into the wind, if that's the choice. But this one over here, 3 years. So I have to go back. The only thing that kind of keeps getting me, I've shared this with you before and I'll do it again. What keeps me going is if you knew that in 3 years that you would have X, but you had to go through this process to get it, would you do it? And so that is a great question, because 3 years are going to talk by you anyway. So 3 years is coming no matter what. 3 years is here. It's going to happen. Each second that rolls by is adding to that next year, 2 years, 3 years. I just never in my life thought I would be bringing that kind of life here to Middle Tennessee and Franklin and this area and my friends and clients. The choice of being done, it seems simple, but actually doing it. And then I've read plenty of articles about trying to do it, or people that have attempted. I've had people, there was an article about a guy that jumped off a bridge and he still survived it. And now he's just a mess. Or people taking poison and all it did was just mess them up physically. And they have to deal with that for the rest of their lives. So you better not half if you're going to do it. So those are my choices. Do I want to spend the next 3 years just in the grind? I worry about the Barkaid that I created, the nonprofit. I worry about the hair business and the 180 clients that are begging me to get back to work, and they're all wondering, where are you? When are you going to come back to work? The Booksy app doesn't show us anything available. And what really breaks my heart is the Barkaid Music Festival, once again, probably most likely having to postpone it again. One thing Jared Weeks told me that I'll have to keep putting into my head, hey man, it's okay. Nobody's hurt. Nobody's out any money. You just have to do it another time. The stars have not aligned. And he's been a source of inspiration too. He's gone through a lot to get himself healthy as well. And I should take note of those. So that's my choice. That's where I'm at, guys. That's where I'm at. So I have the choice of that over, or spend the next 3 years trying to muscle my way through it and get through it, be a better person at the end. I can't tell you I have decided, but I have decided that today is the day for that decision to be made. And so I'm going to keep you guys abreast of that. But if you see a podcast in the near future, then you know what's going on. Okay. I don't want anybody to get all freaked out, but that's where I'm at, and it's really tough. And I know this isn't probably the hey man, it's just honest. He said, just be honest, tell people where you are, how you're feeling. And that's really where I'm at. These last 2 days, and also give you guys an update on my book. I've got a good part of it written, but I have just been out of my element in my head that I haven't even wanted to write it right now. And I'm really like, who if and even is going to care? I don't even know. That's where I'm at. And I appreciate everybody and all your support and all of you guys commenting and telling me how much you appreciate me being around. And it means a lot. But that's where we are. And I want to give you all a bunch of shout out and a bunch of love. And I appreciate you guys. I don't see, here's the thing. I don't want to, this is the weirdest thing to say. I don't want to die. But I also don't want to go through this suffering on earth anymore. How quickly everything has been stripped from me. Yeah, I know I made a bad decision. I know I did something wrong. I know that. But I thought, man, we could accomplish anything. I really did. But maybe it just wasn't meant to be. I don't know. Anyway, I just thought we could, and how fast it can all be stripped. And it's really tough to just let it go, to realize that too. And it's only been a month. I don't know, maybe 2 months, 3 months down the road, another year. Just never thought. Anywho, all right, guys, let's wrap this up. This is where I'm at. All right, so I've been spending about 28 minutes here talking to you about this and that and all the stuff that I've experienced in this short month. In this short month. And there's so much more to share and talk about. And I was just looking at some of the podcasts and that we never did get into the 50 States tour, 50 States shout out challenge. We got started with Hawaii and Paul and got talking about that and never did get to the next state. And there's another thing of a lot of content that we could share, all the different things in all the different states that I've been through, all 50 of them, 7 years in a row. There's got to be something worth talking about there, and especially with everything else going on. All right, guys, I'm going to sign out, and hopefully I am back soon, and I'm hopefully back with you. Hopefully I'm back with you guys. I really enjoy this platform, and I think it's helped me therapeutically. Hopefully it's helped other people, which I have discovered it has already, and just pray and hope that we can continue to work and get through this. It's not easy. It's not easy. And I am struggling. So any prayers of yours out there is very welcome, because not only praying is beneficial, but praying for others is just as beneficial. So I appreciate your prayers. And as we continue to go through this on a daily basis and hope for the best.